Good afternoon. My name is Yousef Hamidaddin, and until my slides come up, I'm the managing partner for the Agri-Tech Fund that has a specific regional focus on the Wadi Araba area and region. Okay. Wadi Araba for many is a strategic opportunity that we see represented here. And I'll give you a quick background about the valley and some of the investments that have been done so far, and what's our vision basically for what we want to do and what we want to deliver in the valley itself. The background is going to be in Arabic, so I'll be going back between Arabic and English. Okay. وادي عربة بيمثل 2000 كيلومتر مربع. It's 2,000 square meters of land situated between the Dead Sea and between the Aqaba Economic Developmental Zone. And it's an interesting space to be in. On the other side, just to give you a sense of the size of the opportunity, the other side of Wadi Araba attracts roughly around $1 billion and $400 million of investments on a continuous basis. It's also considered an agri-tech capital for agri-development. The valley has seen a lot of investments in the past. We have done roughly around 56 million JDs of investments in the last, since 1981, but predominantly between the periods going up to 2019, with three main pillars or driving the overall development of what we want to achieve inside the valley itself. So we want to improve economic conditions, we want to deliver a balanced social structure in the valley itself, and of course we have an interest in leveraging the fact that the valley itself is a virgin land by maintaining its environmental and heritage qualities. The infrastructure has gone towards a couple of points. So one, we've developed, as we said, a lot of agricultural associations, and we have invested in dams with around 4 million cubic meters of water made available through them. And of course, across the valley, we have around 217 wells of water. Now, the structure of this is that we have an overall developmental master plan for the whole valley right now. I'm going to focus on the two things right there to your right-hand side, which is we took into consideration translating the valley itself into an innovation structure, an innovation platform, making the area of Finan and Gregra what we call our agricultural hub for innovation. And then we identified across the valley, going from north to south, an opportunity of developing and creating validation centers. And these validation centers have identified what is currently agricultural land, what is future potential agricultural land, and also introducing the potential of livestock across the valley itself. The other areas, of course, as one of our key elements of development, is that we've touched on all the elements going from the mid and the southern part of the valley. Now, as Muhammad earlier mentioned, we are in partnership with Hassad to translate this into what we call an open valley, a valley for innovation, an open valley for an open lab that allows us to create multiple applications and multiple implementations across the last 2 years of work that we've done so far. In this exercise, we have gone to a couple of places. We've been, for example, to Slush out of Helsinki. We've presented the overall open lab concept and approach in Berlin Nights. We presented in Station F, and we'll talk a little bit more about the partnerships that we have in that space, where we're trying to see, do we represent an appetite for startups to come in and apply their solutions in the valley itself? And it was quite interesting for us to go and map around 800 startups. We identified roughly around 114 that currently are considering doing different applications in the valley itself. The second key element is that we've created a brand identity for the valley. So the purpose of this discussion with all of you here is to see how can we engage with the valley itself for you to have different opportunities of partnerships and implementations in the scope of the Wadi Araba geographical footprint. The identity is anchored by multiple focus areas. So one, the Innovation Valley is our flagship identity of taking this forward and making sure that we promote this on a continuous basis. And I'll talk in a moment about our Agri-Tech Fund, which I manage. And that Agri-Tech Fund is really an anchor that hopefully will attract investors to the region by us having skin in the game and investing behind what we want to consider novel new opportunities of growth for the valley itself. What we also did is we entered into a partnership with an initiative called Accelerate Jordan, تسارع الأردن. تسارع الأردن is an initiative which is a public-private partnership with the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship, the Jordan Tourism Board. We are making available around $5 million with the purpose of that used for two basic things. One, how can we launch and develop accelerators in different themes? And the other element is how can we basically work on anchoring funds for the purpose of development inside Jordan and from Jordan to the region and to the globe. The discussions are, one of the examples we'll talk about right now in the Agri-Tech Fund. Now the Agri-Tech Fund is a 60 million Jordanian dinar, roughly around an $85 million fund. It was launched on the work that we've been doing for the last 1.5 years was launched and announced on January 28th in the presence of His Majesty the King during a visit that His Majesty made to the offices of the Wadi Araba Developmental Company in Wadi Araba. And it focuses on specific themes that we want to address in the verticals that we want to invest behind. And I'll give you 4 different projects that are just samples of our pipeline and the things that we want to consider. But it's already anchored by an anchor investor with 12 million JDs, and the general partner has committed around 600,000 Jordanian dinars to the project itself, leveraging the current ecosystem of Jordan to launch it and attract more and more funds and more investments coming from multiple areas regionally and also globally, with a focus on Europe and the US. Some examples of the pipeline. Now what we want to look at is novel concepts, novel ideas, things that differentiate us on one side, but on the other side also it allows us the opportunity to create an investment and economic impact for Jordan as a total and for the region in terms of its differentiation strategically. In this specific case, we're looking at a fertilizer plant. It's a 75 million Jordanian dinar project. This plant, why are we looking at it in terms of consideration in an agri-tech space? It's because it's moved its current solution, it's an IP patent solution from Mannheim furnace development as a process to ion exchange as a process. And the overall capacity of doing so allows us to leverage the different inputs that Jordan has. I mean, as you're well aware, Jordan has 2 unique elements that contribute to the development of fertilizers, potash and phosphate, and I think that's a key element for giving us an edge in this case specifically. The second project focuses on breeding and gene development. We're looking at a sheep farming project that has a lot of science behind it, and it's interesting to see the overall opportunities. This is a 7 million JD project that we potentially will be anchoring with around 700,000 JDs. Now, one of the interesting things for the Arab world in general is potato seeds or potato imports. And in majority of countries import potato seeds. We don't produce our own potato seeds. And this is a project that has, in partnership with investors from Holland, from the Netherlands specifically, who are going to consider the valley itself for their launch of a project. And again, we're coming in as a potential investor in that to address producing around 5,600 tons of potato seeds out of the valley for Jordan and at a later stage for exporting into the region itself. And finally, we're looking at an example of an aqua farm capacity where we are going, there's a project approved to pull in water from the Red Sea to the southern tip of the valley itself, which will allow us to have access to salt water or seawater, and we will leverage that to address a shortage in the areas of aqua farming, leveraging that in an area that we want to focus on going forward. That really summarizes, what we wanted to do here and what we want to share with you today. And I hope if you have any questions, I look forward to taking them in a minute. Thank you so much.